Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I am Sean Anderson, Most Valuable Podcast, and the upcoming segment is from our full Fast Break podcast that we recorded. And if you do want to check out that full podcast, head over to Blog Talk Radio /The Fast Break. You'll be able to find the full podcast over there. But let's move on to Paul George. Obviously, right now, the Pacers are down 3-0 in the series. That's no fault of Paul George. Paul George has been fantastic to end the regular season. Also been fantastic in the playoffs. Just hasn't been able to hit that big shot, at least to close out Game 1. Looking at this, though, taking in all of this, because personally, I'm not a fan of this story, but in your mind, because there's a lot of talk right now, will Paul George be a Pacer at the start of next year?
The start of next year, yes. By the end of next year, no. That's what should happen.
And why don't you think he will be traded during the offseason? Because I feel like, at least in my mind right now, teams like the Lakers and Celtics, the two teams that he's probably most tied to, would have more value in trading their picks now. I know that means no Lonzo Ball for the Celtics or no Markelle Fultz for either of the team. But I feel at least now is the most value for the Pacers, and that's more likely when they would trade. Because if those first and second picks are in play, I think that means a lot there, unless the Lakers can do it without picks.
I feel funny because you're using this thing called logic, and I don't think that logic is going to play into this.
Say logic?
Logic. In what's going to happen is, I'll tell you what will happen. Is during the offseason, the Pacers will think, you know what? We have a team. We gave the Cavs a run. We gave them a run, although we got swept. We gave them a run.
They haven't got swept
yet. But you know what?
They
haven't got swept yet. By the time this goes up, they will.
Just got to put it up.
The thing they'll do is they'll try to get someone in free agency. They won't get anyone huge. Then they'll try to add during the draft, and they'll be like, dude, PG, we've had enough guys. You're going to stick it out with us. And then halfway through the season go, shit, we got to trade him because he's going to walk, and then they'll trade him.
Why do you think they need to get somebody huge?
I'm not saying they need to get someone huge. They just, because the thing that I look at, and this is the big thing with this Pacer team, and it was really Game 1 that showed this, on a final shot, when just double team Paul George, and it's like anyone else. I'm not saying that like Jeff Teague's not a great player. I'm not saying that CJ Miles is a great player. It's just anyone else on that team does not scare me to take a final shot. I just got to double team Paul George, pass it off, and then I'll take my luck there.
Paul George is like 0 for 20 in last-minute shots in his career.
Correct.
But I would still put the ball in his hands on that team.
That's no question as well. Yeah. But, I mean,
I'm not saying
not
he's
every player
phenomenal at it. I'm just saying he's the one.
But he's also thrown 3 teammates under a bus in 3 games.
Not every player has a Kyrie Irving to go to for a last-minute shot.
True. Well, that's if Kyrie's playing the fourth.
Ray Allen.
But he was playing in the fourth when I referenced it. Yeah, no one's got one of the greatest three-point shooters of all time. No one's
bail him out.
Kyrie Irving. I mean, like, not every player has Steve Kerr who used to shoot 50% from 3.
What I'm saying is I don't think the Pacers squad around Paul George is built to.
Well,
it's built to get to the playoffs, but I don't think it's built to win in the playoffs. And I don't think anything they'll do in free agency or the draft will get them any nearer to being able to compete in the playoffs.
Dave, the question I want to pose to you going off that with Ricky, can Paul George on the Lakers or Celtics compete with the Cavs with LeBron James or Steph Curry and KD if he goes to the Lakers anytime soon?
Yeah, no, probably not. I don't think they're going to compete, and that's the biggest problem. Is like
well, I'm not saying compete like beating the Cavs. I'm saying compete like even if they went up against the Raptors, Celtics, or Wizards, I would pick the other team over them.
I don't know about that because it's all talk about the best player in the series. And we look right now what Robin Lopez is doing to the Celtics.
Matchups,
if they ended up being the 8th seed, I think that the Celtics would still be doing the same thing the Bulls are doing to the Celtics right now. I know right now in Game 3 it's not looking too well for the Bulls. But you look at Miles Turner, and that guy's a beast. I mean, he's so young. He's so athletic. He's so big. And, I mean, his ability to block shots, his ability to attack the rim, he's got a sweet-looking jumper. I think that guy's a center of the future, and I look at that. It's tough to say that guys around him like Jeff Teague's a good point guard. You look at CJ Miles, he's a good player. I don't think he's a great player. And Thad Young, he's a player that I like too. He's very quiet. He's not going to stuff the stats, but he's a good power forward for you. I mean, he's a guy that's going to set high pick and rolls. He's a guy with a sweet jumper. He's a guy that's at least aggressive out there. I don't think this team is not built. I just think that Paul George wants more than he's expecting, but I don't know if he's ever going to be able to get that much more unless he's on a team like the Warriors or Celtics, or if he goes to a team like the Spurs, tossing out some of the better teams out there.
Right.
Because I don't think that any team like the Lakers or Celtics, unless they get a Markelle Fultz and they get someone to pair down to Horford, I think that the Celtics are probably the best chance, but he probably wants to end up going to LA because he's from there.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem is like it looks like Indiana went all in last year or during this past offseason for Paul George. Like you said, you mentioned names they picked up in free agency with Jeff Teague, with
Al Jefferson.
They picked up Lance Stevenson late. They got Thad Young for a trade for a draft pick. Like they did everything. We thought going into the season they were going to be smart. They went vet savvy. They're going to be ready for the playoffs. And what we're seeing in this playoff series is that they may have great role players, but they don't fit together right, and they can't work with Paul George to carry. He can't even carry them to a win over the Cavs, which is the ultimate test in the East.
And that's the thing I want to mention is the role players. I mean, you look at what's behind Jeff Teague. I think the starting lineup's really good. To be honest with you, I like I like Jeff Teague. I like C.J. Miles. I like Paul George. I like Thad Young. I like Miles Turner. Really like those guys. But after Jeff Teague goes out, you go to Monta Ellis. Monta Ellis isn't good anymore. Monta Ellis can't guard anybody. Monta Ellis gets pushed around. There's no defense happening with Monta Ellis coming into the game. Lance Stevenson, love the guy.
Off the street,
guys either hot or he's awful.
He only plays in India.
Yeah, and India. It sounded like you said India.
Sorry.
But the thing with Stevenson is like he's either hot or he's not. I mean, like he's either red hot. The way he started the first half, he was unreal. Then the second half, he was nowhere to be found. So I think it's something where you need a player that you can rely on after Jeff Teague, and I think a player that they're really missing. I know that they traded him away, but could you imagine like George Hill coming off the bench or Jeff Teague coming off the bench? If that was their backup to one of those guys, I mean, I think this Pacers team could really actually take it to the Cavs instead of just pushing them deep. I think they could actually win a couple of these games because I look at Miles Turner. That kid's just going to grow and grow. Paul George has already said that he has already proved that he's a top 6 small forward in the league. I think he's better than Carmelo Anthony right now. So I would say if we're putting up, I mean, I don't know where Giannis is, but still, LeBron, KD, Kawhi, Paul George, Jimmy Butler, Giannis, those 7 are in there. And that's a nice company to be around. Jeff Teague's a proven point guard. You also look at Thad Young. Again, I like his size. I think they just need to find more bench help, and that's it. I mean, I don't know exactly who they should be going after.
Yeah, the problem is, though, the problem comes back to where does he want to play, and he's spoken outright about how he wants to go play in L.A., and so we heard a little bit of talks during this past season about LA maybe putting a package together, and then I think they're like, why would we even pay anything for him? He'll come in free agency.
The Lakers...
He's going to walk away from the guaranteed money if he doesn't get the Supermax, and it's all there.
You just have to wait a year, and then you also just have to you let your players grow.
It's exactly like I saw. I want to say this was after Game 2 that Colin Cowherd tweeted, like, man, Paul George is going to... He's going to be a great Laker.
It was Game 1, I think.
And it was...
he sent that to us, yeah.
And it's true because it's one of those things where if I'm the Lakers, I don't make a trade at all because it's one of those things, why would I give up anything for a guy that's going to come to my team after leaving?
Well, you got to hope that he's going to pass up on the money to come to your team.
I think that this point...
Maybe Melo's a precautionary tale.
Yeah,
don't always follow the money.
That is perfectly true. But the one thing that I look at is the two things that are, like Sean said, and it's the big measuring stick in the East and the West, are the Cavs and the Warriors. And Sean asked, if he goes to the Lakers, is he going to be able to get past the Warriors? Because right now it's, he can't get past the Cavs. Which one do you think is going to be not the one that happens the soonest, but the one that crumbles the other the most? Either LeBron leaving because he's going to retire eventually because everyone
42
retires.
After he plays with his son.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Eventually he's going to retire.
On the Orlando Magic.
But if we look at on the Orlando Magic, but if we look at the Warriors right now, Draymond, he's the one that's locked up the furthest. He's locked up. He doesn't become a free agent until 2020.
Steph is staying. Steph isn't following money.
Wait. Then you've got Klay Thompson, who is 2019-2020. That's the year he becomes a free agent. Steph is a free agent this year, and I'm not going out there and saying he's going to leave. Don't say that. But the big thing they're going to have to figure out in Golden State is, hey, Kevin Durant has $27.7 million of an option. I think what's going to end up happening is he's not going to take the option. They're going to give the money to Steph Curry. They got to figure out how they're going to keep everybody, and Kevin Durant might not be in the Warriors next year. And I know what you're saying. Well, Ricky, this Warrior team was still good, even with Thompson, Green, and Curry. But the biggest thing for the Warriors is going to be how do we figure out this money? And if they have to give more money to Steph Curry, that means they got to kind of knock it off in other places. I mean, Iguodala is going to be a free agent. He's gone. That's your sixth man. Yep. I mean, you don't even have a big guy right now. And I mean,
JaVale McGee's got a 25.
But McGee's going to be a free agent. He's going to want more than $980K.
Is he?
I think he's going to want a little more.
Kevin Durant already talked with Steph about him taking less money, and it was the conversation of we'll do what it takes to keep it together.
Yeah, if Steph didn't have his ankle problems, I think that he would take a pay cut. If he didn't have his ankle injuries,
KD's the one who's going to come up short, but it'll be another one and done kind of a contract, and we'll see how long we can keep this running for. That's why I think that while the Warriors have a younger core, I think they're also the more volatile team. I think LeBron has shown that he will do whatever it takes to make sure his roster is going to compete for a championship every single year because LeBron has that passion. No matter what you want to say about the guy and his playoff success, no matter what, he's going all in on it, and he will do everything. He will speak publicly. He will be the GM. He will be the coach. He will do everything for you to get that team back to the championship again. So that's why I feel like it's just going to come down to bank management for the Warriors and how little depth they can run with. And I think that the Lakers hopefully will have a younger core. And I think that Paul George on the Lakers makes more sense.
But then again, when he's 26 years old, he's 26 years old right now. How long will it take the Lakers to get to relevancy?
Because Paul George on them right now makes them an 8 seed.
Really?
I don't think. Well,
if they get a draft pick this year, 8 seed.
Well, it's one of those things.
Think how they started off.
I like Brandon Ingram. You like D'Angelo Russell. You like Julius Randle.
How many of those players are going to stay, and what are you giving up?
With
you still have
Brandon
Russell
Ingram.
and
Brandon Ingram's locked down until 2020.
No, but I'm saying trade.
Oh,
I'm saying because he's gonna.
We're walking.
So
Lakers are just waiting.
Yeah,
so the Lakers are waiting.
The Lakers game is to wait. The Celtics game is to trade.
Yeah,
and that's the thing is the Celtics if they want to risk it.
But here's the thing with the Lakers is, and the money's got to work out for this. But I look at their top two contracts alone.
Moskov and Deng.
Yeah, they're locked up till 2020.
Yeah,
something's got to give.
Somebody's going to the Sixers.
If you're the Sixers, do you take Timothy Mozgov?
You're getting a trade pick.
That's what I'm saying.
You're getting a trade pick for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I immediately
they
look
didn't
and
give
go,
an amnesty this time around in the agreement, so
they can find teams to dump stuff in.
Yeah, salary dumps are easy. It just comes down to the Celtics playing the game of we're playing chicken right now. Do we feel like we can lure Paul George to us for more than 1 year?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a one and done, or they have to have that assurance of you're going to come to us, but we're going to get that new contract signed,
or it's even a can we trade for him and does he put us over the bar?
Oh, they could trade for him. They've got $1 billion assets.
No. But the thing is, can we trade for him and he puts us over the bar this year so that even if it's like I'm saying over the bar like they win it all, even if we win it all, then he can walk. We don't care. We want it. Kind of a thing.
I mean, they've got a couple pieces they need to get before they can.
I'm not
win
saying
it all.
They're going to win it all. I'm just saying
but I'm
if they
saying
think
that they don't know. I think right now they know that they can't win it all by adding a dynamic scorer. I mean, Paul George is an all-around player, but what he brings to you is a dominant scorer who...
He's a great two-way player. What are you talking about?
He's a pretty good two-way player.
That was a total, I just got to laugh at his voice.
He's a phenomenal
He doesn't solve
player.
the problem. He doesn't solve the problem.
See,
he doesn't make the Celtics a championship team because they still don't get 40 rebounds a game.
I don't disagree with you, but I think you can find a guy who's a rebounder who comes cheap.
You'd think so.
Somewhat cheap.
But they've got all these picks. Sean, they've got all these guys overseas.
Somebody.
Zizic is coming back. He's going to be here next season. Is he going to be their answer? We don't know. Are they going to draft 4 more guys this year because they can't move picks because they want to keep all their picks? Like the Celtics roster is so loaded with, semi-role players and great contracts. But all these guys are fucking bums in the playoffs.
Terry Rozier.
I'm going to call him out. I'm going to fight the Celtics.
See, Rozier had, plus 20 tonight against the Bulls? So I'm not going to knock him.
I'm just calling.
No, I'm still going to knock him. That's more Bulls' lack of performance.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. See, I think where he will end up going is the Lakers because bigger...
Do you think they're going to have to give up something for him? Do you think they'll just wait out to the end of the season?
I think I think he's going to go to Lakers because bigger market, it's his hometown.
Yep.
I think what would be smart is they just wait because I think they could totally wait. And even if he goes to the Celtics, I think they might be able to sway him because people love playing for their hometown. It's a larger market. It's LA. It's more attractive, at least to players. I think the better move for his career, though, would be go to Boston, because you've seen this with at least the three big markets in Chicago, New York, and L.A. And they are loyal to free agency and building through free agency or getting that big star, but not being able to doing a lot with it recently. The Lakers are the best team out of those three to be able to do that. You've had Shaq and Kobe. You've had Kobe and Powell. But outside of that, I mean, that Kobe Powell has been a while. It's been 7 to 6 years.
Kobe was drafted, technically.
Yeah, but the Shaq was
Shaq
was a free agency.
Steve Nash.
Then Powell was a thing as well. Powell was a free agent sign.
But then the Steve Nash, Dwight Howard. Had they been healthy, I think that would have been a scary team.
They've been able to hit as well. I mean, you look at the Knicks. I mean, they've been the big free agent signings. I mean, Melo was a trade, but Stephon Marbury, Allen Houston, Amari Stoudemire was a free agent. I mean, D Rose, Joakim Noah, Rose was a trade, but they love bringing in these star players. The Bulls try, but they always fail. I mean, they've drafted one in D Rose and would call Noah a star. They tried to bring in Boozer. He wasn't a star. They brought in Wade. You're lucky that he was there and he's a hometown guy.
He got injured.
He did that because he was out of spite. He got injured, and I mean, he didn't really help him in the regular season that much. He's been good in the playoffs so far. But then you also look at Paul Gasol. Paul Gasol was a bum on the Bulls. Or at least not a bum, but he didn't fit with that team.
He fit the stat line. He did not make the Bulls a better team.
I got a question. This goes back to
what I was saying is I think what might be better is Boston, because Boston has a thing of building a team and not building a star.
And that's what I wanted to go back to, because like Paul George working out the trade, it's going to be around 19 mil as his salary next year. You're going to have to trade some pieces, but the one guy who's leaving to free agency is Amir Johnson. Do you maybe look at him and go, hey, we can let him walk, and if a guy like Taj hits the market, because he's going to be a free agency, kind of swapping the power forwards and saying, we'll let Amir Johnson go, get a rebounder, a guy who can help us rebounding, because I would like Taj Gibson on the boards more than Amir Johnson.
When I saw Taj, when I was looking up free agents, I thought Taj was a great fit for the Celtics, but then again, money-wise is going to be a big thing.
And right now, I mean, the thing is, how much is Taj? Because Taj is right now around the 9-point-something million.
He's going to go up.
So he'll be.
How much is he going to get a max? Is he going to be around where Amir
Taj is going to be like 14.
Because Amir Johnson's at 12.
Yeah, Taj will be 14 to 16.
15.
With, Amir Johnson and maybe like a Urekbo, or that name, fuck it, I said it wrong. But that's around, that's around 12, and so about 17 million right there between those two. But you could maybe bring in Taj at 14 then?
The question is, the Celtics have options. They've always had options, and it's do we go for Paul George? Do we go for Jimmy Butler? Do we wait and hope we can sign Gordon Hayward in free agency?
And then also we have the draft as well.
And they have the draft. So they have options, and that's the thing is, like, do you feel like they're going to go ahead, and if they whiff on a Gordon Hayward, are they going to go for, or are they going to pull the trigger early and go for Jimmy or Paul before the draft with that one pick? Like, the Celtics have all the cards in their hands, and it's entirely based on how the season ends for them. I truly believe that that's kind of the decider for them. And I feel like Paul George, if he was smart, you're right. If he wants to win a championship, the East might be the better route. But I think that going home and being a leader of a young team, and if he goes long term with them, I think towards like the middle end of that contract, he will have playoff.
I think if you want to win sooner,
real shots.
I think if you want to win sooner, you go to the East. If you want to win in general, you go to the West, because that's Steph, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green thing. It's gonna fall, or they're not gonna have the bench pieces, or Steph is gonna get injured because that guy has bum ass knees. So then you look at the Spurs as well. You have
his knees or his ankles?
Ankles. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Then you look at
thinking of Derrick Rose.
Yeah. You look at the Spurs. You have Kawhi, but I mean, I don't know who else is going to be there. Well, I don't. And that's something with Pop as well. Pop is just a genius, but I don't know who's going to be there on the Spurs. And then outside of that, I think it's pretty wide open. I think the Jazz are an up and coming team, but the Lakers and T-Wolves, I think there's like 3 teams there that are built for the future. Because the Grizzlies are going to get older. Grizzlies are going to get older. Suns as well.
We talked about that on the upclimb.
But I think if
they're long term,
if the Lakers add a guy like Paul George, they
immediately shifts them. Yeah,
supersede the Suns.
Yep.
So I think long term, I think you go to the Lakers, because there's a lot of pieces there already, and you're going to be the star.
But a short-term deal, you go Boston.
Short-term deal, you go with Boston, because
either way,
at IT, Al Horford, Paul George, you can bring somebody who wants to chase a ring.
You know what, the one thing I and this is the last thing I have, is the Pacers, and I'm talking to you right now, Pacer fans, Pacer management, because we know they watch.
Larry Bird's a big fan.
It's one of those things where I don't feel bad for you yet.
I do.
I'll feel bad for you if your team does what Paul George, what my team did with Paul Gasol. No. We can keep him. He's going to take the player option. And then he doesn't. And it's like, oh, well, he walked and we got nothing. Next season, either if it's in the offseason this year or it's during the season next year, you have to get something for Paul George. You cannot let him walk away for nothing.
And I think that's the reason why we're talking about it right now. Is just because they don't want to be KD'd. They don't want to be have that happen to him. I don't know if it's going to happen.
But I say pull the trigger this offseason and get some picks.
I think ultimately it's going to happen. But I think if you had a bigger backup point guard and you had a better three-point shooter than C.J. Miles, and C.J. Miles is your seventh guy off the bench, and you have a bigger point guard as your sixth man, and you have a guy, at least, if you can draft a guy who's a shooter to fill in that C.J. Miles spot, J.J. Redick's going to be a free agent. If you can add some more three-point shooting to this team, at least in the starting lineup, have C.J. Miles come off the bench, and then have a bigger point guard, I think the Pacers can actually make some damage, make some noise. I don't think you need to go to L.A. or Boston, but I think ultimately one of those teams is going to pull the trigger and do it. And I think the most likely team that Paul George is going to go to is the Lakers.
And in his 4.1, Chad Ford has the Pacers at 18 going with Luke Kennard.
It's not a bad choice. Not a bad choice to talk about outside shooting.
Not going to be a starter, though. Dave, where's he going to go? Final thoughts?
Yeah, he's gonna be in L.A. I think that's just the ultimate answer. And Indy is just they took a last shot at it. You gotta give him effort. They went all in this past offseason to get him a shot at a championship.
They still have one more offseason, so we still have that.
Officially, yes, but I think Paul George speaking publicly has kind of killed any long-term hopes.
But then again, they still realize that. Hopefully, they realize. I think they do how good Miles Turner is, and you still can build back up.
Building around a big man in today's NBA, always a question mark.
But he can be your second guy. I'm saying
he's a great two.
You still have time.
He's a great two.
With how young he is, you still have time to find another number one.
Yep,
is what I'm saying. Ricky, where's he going to be?
I'm L.A. I mean, Boston, I think, it's like Dave said, they've got all the cards, but Danny Ainge doesn't want to pull the trigger on anything. That's what I feel like.
I feel like
when it comes to trades, it's like, ooh, we can do this, we can do that. No, but I don't want to do it. I want it all myself. I want it all for myself. That's what I feel like.
I think he's just being
the
more
smartest guy in the room.
He wants to be the smartest guy in the room.
I think he is. I still think he is because Paul George coming out, I'm not sold on Paul George or Jimmy Butler being the face of your franchise.
If I'm the Celtics, I
draft Markelle Fultz.
Yeah, I don't think because Isaiah probably. We've talked about him maybe leaving and wanting more money, obviously, when his contract's up. But I wouldn't look to I wouldn't saw it out for PG-13.
I draft Markelle Fultz and I move on.
See where it goes from there.
And get someone who can grab boards and pair him with Al Horford and Jaylen Brown. I think this team is fine. I don't think you need to hit the panic button and go for a Paul George or Jimmy Butler because then again, those guys might be able to leave with their contract situations. So then you trade Markelle Fultz for a guy you're getting for 1 year. I think it's a stupid move. I don't think it's going to happen. Or if you could do Paul George for Jaylen Brown straight up, then maybe. But I still think that's giving up too much because you're only getting that guy for a year, where you're getting Jaylen Brown for possibly his whole career with the way that things are set up. And yeah, you could talk about Brad Stevens' postseason record, but still, that guy's one of the best coaches in the NBA. So
3-10.
3-10, but he also took this bum ass team to the number 1 seed in the NBA in the NBA Eastern Conference. So I still think that this Boston team's set up. I think that Paul George should be your last option. I think Gordon Hayward should be above him. I think Jimmy Butler should be above him. I think Markelle Fultz should be your number 1 option. So that's my thoughts on Paul George going to the Celtics. I think ultimately he's going to be a Laker at some point in his career. Tell us what you think of Paul George down in the comments below. Is he going to be a Celtic? Is he going to be a Laker? What should the Celtics do as well? Should they go draft? Should they go for a superstar like Jimmy Butler or Paul George? We've talked about Gordon Hayward, but then again, he might stay in Utah. We'd love to know what you think down below in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like this video. Apparently, we were overrated, so just want to throw that out there.
Rated.
That's what I was saying. I didn't know we were rated.
It's nice to be rated.
Apparently, we're overrated. And also, if you're listening to us on Blog Talk Radio, thank you so much. If you hit that download button and you download us, thank you so much for making us a part of your day. We appreciate it. For Dave Oster and Ricky Widmer, I'm Sean Anderson, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Oh, shit. I was just one of our videos scared me a little bit. Don't forget to check out that one. And also don't forget to check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. But thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.